Hi all and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be going over the fear of missing out in wargames. Specifically how I deal with it and little tips I think will help you. This is kind of a follow-up to my last video complaining about Games Workshop and the things I kind of learned to deal with the fact that I won't be able to get or have everything I want, as there's always a new army or a new mini or something amazing they've released that I want really badly. Anyway, let's get right into it. FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is a really big deal in the current industry. With all the limited edition box sets and releases we see from all companies, not just Games Workshop, it can be really easy to just feel like if you don't spend thousands of dollars every year, you're going to be doing something wrong or missing out on some amazing new release you could play with your friends. None of this is really the reality, as 99% of the time that stuff that you buy just goes on a pile of gray or a pile of shame and doesn't get touched for months when you could do it now or do it later if you planned better. The big issue with the fear of missing out is telling yourself it's okay to buy less. And let's get into buying less. You don't always need to buy the newest Christmas Battle Force box. You don't always need to buy the newest weekly release of your favorite Dark Angels or your favorite Necron, cough cough, your favorite Tau, your favorite anything. It's okay to not have to pre-order something. It is okay to find it later. Especially if you look at secondary markets, most of these Christmas Battle Forces are going to be put back up for retail price in other places for at least 2 to 3 months. And if not, you can get them for near retail price on like Facebook marketplaces and etc. and other places. You just need to know where to look. It is okay for you to not spend $200 to $300 this holiday season because you think it's a good idea. I have had to tell myself the same thing as the Iron Jaws and the Cities of Sigmar Battle Forces for Age of Sigmar are just so good for the value, and I want to own both of them. But I have to tell myself that it's going to be okay. After all, I'm still finishing my Skaven army, I still have to finish painting like 2 OBR minis, and buying another new army right now is not the smartest thing for me to do, especially since I'm trying to plan a future. Now that's me. Let's say you don't have as many financial proclivities or thoughts as I do. Well then, think about it like this. Are you actually going to use what you buy? Are you getting this because it's something you're going to use, or are you getting this because you can get it at a discount and that is all your influence, all the ideas behind it? The easiest way to avoid FOMO is the step of realizing you don't need to buy the new thing all the time. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have games that don't have constant new releases. For instance, Bolt Action, one of my favorite miniature war games. It has new model releases, but a lot of those new model releases are models that you could already own from other companies. After all, there are only so many tanks that the German Empire had. There are only so many tanks that the Italians had, that the Americans had, that Russia had. There are only so many types of infantry or types of, units they ran. And there's only so many the game, supports as well. It is really easy to max out everything you need in a bolt action army without too much trouble, at least everything that interests you, and there's not constant new releases. A lot of miniatures agnostic wargames are like this. You can paint up one Age of Renaissance army in any system, and it can be used pretty much with any other system. Saga is a great example of this. They have their newest, I think it's called Age of Chivalry, and that age, which takes place in the War of the Roses, those minis can be used in pretty much any game that takes place in that time period, which is fantastic. You paint one set of minis, and you can transpose them to almost any game, and you're not constantly buying something new while still also supporting the smaller people. This is the method I am going personally, as I enjoy painting new minis, and for some reason historical war games are kind of just clicking with me now. I've already ordered Saga Age of Crusades, and when that comes in, I'm going to be doing a short review on it, so look forward to that. The next biggest thing is finding a game that lets you 3D print, or finding 3D prints for a game you like. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on new Games Workshop releases. Spend $300 on a good 3D printer, and you have something that can print out entire armies for pennies to the dollar. As someone who has a Saturn III who they cannot currently use because the ventilation system isn't working at the moment, and I'm kind of just waiting until I move and can reset it up with a proper ventilation system because resin 3D printers are toxic, and make sure it's in a well-ventilated room. Please, please, please. I still love 3D printing. I still have piles of 3D printed minis that I made while I had it, and it all worked. So do it. It saves you so much time. It saves you so much money. It's not as hard as it seems. It is a hobby in itself, but it's not as hard as it seems. And that is the best I can say. And it also helps with the fear of missing out because, yeah, you don't buy that model right now. You can print it in 2 months and someone has a near perfect scan or a really, really good proxy that looks better than the original ready. And this also goes back to something like Bolt Action or other historical games. You can find so many good 3D printed scopes that you can use in so many games. The biggest thing I can emphasize here is how good 3D printing is for the wargaming community as a whole. And the final big tenet for the fear of missing out crowd is find a game that doesn't constantly have new minis. Battletech is a great example of this. And let me clarify, they have a lot of new minis. However, you can run any of the older minis without a problem. You don't need to constantly buy the newest scope or the newest thing unless you really want to. And even then, you get minis for cheaper than Games Workshop. By far. Because one Force box for $30 to $35 US is so much better than anything else, at least Games Workshop-wise. That can be almost an entire group if you're a clan, or just get 2 Force boxes and you have more mechs than you need for a battle. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it. And again, I can emphasize, finding games that just don't constantly change what minis they use is amazing, and you should do that. Battletech is just the biggest thing in my head right now, but any miniatures agnostic game or historical game also fits in this category. I just wanted to specify between this and like a historical games where there's a limited number of minis. But this applies for both. The journey to pretty much ignoring FOMO is a long one, and it takes a while. Our brains are preconditioned to want to buy the new thing and to see the newest thing. But sometimes you just need to get over it and make a very long YouTube video about how you're definitely not going to be buying any of the new Games Workshop stuff. I pinky promise, pretty please. Thank you all for watching this shorter video. I just wanted to make it to get a topic that was on my mind out there. I hope I did a good enough job of it, and if all of you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I will be making a longer review of Bolt Action 3rd Edition either out next week or Thanksgiving weekend. I probably will not have a video out. I don't know if I'll have a video out next weekend if I'm working on the Bolt Action one, but I will try. I am enjoying coming back to this YouTube thing, and I hope all of you are here to stay. Have a wonderful weekend all, and I'll see you soon.